Wow. It looks like Andrew's redecorated a little bit since I've been down here. Just a little bit. Artwork looks the same. He still had a big table here, but he had a lot of beds over here and over here because this guy spent 6 months housing 62 people that had their homes destroyed. And some of these people were incredibly depressed because he told me about, the apartment buildings would crash down and their family members would be buried, but they lived. They came here, they stayed here together, grandmas, children, animals, 62 people for 6 months while the missiles were pounding outside, and blew that door open. I don't know how many times, I think he said 4. But he kept hope, he's very religious as well. And he kept people happy, he smiled, he was always telling jokes and good stories. He showed me how they used potatoes to create candles and how they kept light here because they had no electricity. One of the other things that I heard was that they didn't know whether all of Ukraine had fallen or not. So for 6 months they didn't know whether Russia was occupied all of Ukraine or if it was just this one village. But he's definitely rearranged here, but he had all these beds here. He's got a couple other rooms here where he kept cats, and they would have water. He's got a little sink for water. But man, this must have been one experience. Can you imagine it? And this belongs to him. He's a manager for some company out here. But this is a World War II bunker, so it was able to withstand all the missiles that were hitting. And so he repurposed it for this incredible war, this incredible tragedy. And today, even after the village is now reoccupied by Ukrainian forces, he's still taking care of all these animals out in his yard. Goes around and feeds them, keeps them going, sterilizes them. That's how we met. He helped us go out and hunt animals and find them and bring them to the doctor that we had here to run in a clinic. But one of the stories he told me was about during the occupation, the Russians would come knocking at the door. And I don't know if he still has it up here, but he had he has a big cleaver. Yeah. Well, it's not the same one. He had a really big kind of almost an axe here. But the Russians would open up the door and he'd have to go outside and strip naked. And they're looking for the contusions on his shoulders because they saw his hunting rifle. And he said, no, I'm hunting for food. But they were looking to see if he had been hunting for Russians. The other thing that he was telling me was they were looking for the Ukrainian symbol, like a tattoo. So if he had that, then that would be bad news too because they would assume he's military. But somehow he managed to take care of all these folks. And he kept them happy, kept them going, kept them alive, kept their spirits. And here he is today. And what's he doing? Still helping animals. And I think that's because one of his neighbors told me that when you have little hope, that you can help someone who has less hope. If you look at these animals, they need us. And they need our assistance to give them because they have psychological issues imagine being an animal and having missiles hit every minute and a half. What are you thinking? You don't know. You're just scared. And he's able to help those animals. And so, what a man. What a freaking hero. It's my hero.